Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I want to talk about the real estate market in Malaysia and why potentially this could be a good investment. I'll give you 10 reasons for that. I will also give you the disadvantages of investing in Malaysia and we'll make a conclusion at the end. So here are 10 good reasons why the Malaysian market could be a good real estate market to invest in. Number one, Malaysia is in a strategic location along the Strait of Malacca, and which happens to be the world's busiest shipping lane. And this has stood Malaysia in good stead in the past and will do so in the future. Number two, Malaysia is one of the very few countries in Asia where you can purchase freehold land. So this gives you more options for investing outside city centres, apartments, for example. You can invest in land in other areas of the country. Although there are restrictions on that, and that will be said in the disadvantages. Number three, the population growth in Malaysia is very, very healthy. So currently it stands at around 30 million, but this is expected to shoot to 40 million by the year 2030, and this can only be good for the real estate market. Number four, Malaysia has very much a rising middle class, and Malaysia is now almost considered a first world country. It's not quite there yet, but it's very, very much becoming a developed country. Number five, what I also like in Malaysia is, yes, secure title deeds. So what many countries have a disadvantage, like for example, I'll give you an example, Cyprus, where the title deeds often either don't exist or they're not 100% clear who owns the titles and you need to do investigation. This is not the case in Malaysia. Both land and condominium properties have good title deeds, and new homes come with good warranties. In fact, in Malaysia, more than 10 real estate developers are invested on the stock exchange. Number six, what I also like is that Malaysia is very multicultural, it's safe, and the people are very, very friendly. It gives that air of tranquility. Number seven, Malaysia is business friendly, and this can only be good for the real estate market. Number eight, Malaysia is a very, very stable country, and the property market, although yes, it has gone up quite a bit, but when you take into account inflation, yes, it's still gone up, but it's quite a stable property market. Number nine, what I also like is the low transaction costs. So combined buying and selling fees will cost you between 5 to 8% of the value of the property. Now that's not too bad when you have to take into account stamp duty and legal costs and agent fees as well, which are actually paid by the seller. But I'm sure you'll agree, total buy-sell costs of between 5 and 8%, not too bad at all. Number 10, what I also like is the economy. Now, if you look at the statistics in Malaysia, the total government debt to GDP ratio is 53% as of 2020, so it's gone up a bit. But I'm sure you'll agree this has happened because of the pandemic, but it's actually quite low when you compare it to most Western European countries, EU, the UK. So I make that a good reason to invest. And the unemployment rate at the moment is 4.7% because of COVID-19. This was at June 2020, but normally it's between 3 and 3.5%, which is also extremely low. Also, what I like, if you take the years of 2010 to 2019, Malaysia has grown by more than 4% in each of these years. And I'm sure you'll agree, that is very, very good performance. And also Malaysia has good oil reserves. So I've given you very, very briefly 10 good reasons to invest in the Malaysian real estate market. But here are now 5 quite strong disadvantages. Number one, the rental yields, in particular in the major cities of Kuala Lumpur and Penang, are not very good, 3%. Number two, you have quite low occupancy rates in Malaysia, and there's been a glut of apartments built over the last few years which are unoccupied. And this is actually going to keep yields low going forward as well. Number three, for foreigners, yeah, there's a minimum purchase price for buying property, depending on where you're buying in Malaysia. Also depending on what type of property you're buying as well. So let's take an example. In Kuala Lumpur, the minimum requirement to buy a property in Kuala Lumpur is 1 million ringgit, and that equates to about 242,000 US dollars. and I'm sure you'll agree with me, that is not a very low entry point. There are other states in Malaysia where you can get in at lower prices, but the capital being the capital is perhaps where most of us want to invest, or Penang, where it's also 1 million as well. And there is a special part of Penang where I think houses you pay actually 3 million ringgit, which is about more than 600,000 US dollars. That's a lot of money to get in. So it's definitely not an entry level market, and you'll have to have quite substantial funds as well. Number 4, yeah, the taxes are not particularly low. Although what I like, there's no inheritance tax. Rental income tax for residents in Malaysia is 20%, but you, for example, as a foreigner, will have to pay 25%, and that's quite high. Also, you cannot really flip Malaysian properties because the capital gains tax for selling under 5 years is 25%. That's a hell of a lot. Although if you keep it for more than 5 years, it's 5%, and that's quite low. Now, number 5, although in theory, so the laws are pro-landlord, in practice it's pro-tenant. And why is that? It's because the courts in Malaysia are so slow and inefficient. So this does favour the tenant more than the landlord. So what's the conclusion? Well, it's a difficult one. I think Malaysia's good if you've got a sizable amount of money and you want a solid investment. Yeah, Malaysia is quite good. And if you compare it to other markets, let's say if you compare it to Kuala Lumpur, to Manila and Ho Chi Minh City, Kuala Lumpur is far more developed, but the prices are actually lower than Manila and Ho Chi Minh City, although there is a caveat in that Manila has a hell of a higher population density than Kuala Lumpur. We're talking about 6 to 7 times as much. So the argument in that case is not so strong, but it is against Ho Chi Minh City. So if you do decide to invest, where should you invest? Well, in my opinion, either the Kuala Lumpur centre where the Petronas Towers are, or Kuala Lumpur Central, which is basically where the business district is. You have also the train station and good communication with both airports. Why am I saying these 2 areas? Well, because one of the problems, as we said, is rental yields, and there are a glut of apartments, and there is an oversupply in Malaysia. At least in these 2 areas, you know they're always going to be popular. So at least, you know, the investment will hold its value and I think actually appreciate in the future, whereas other parts of Malaysia, maybe not so much. Also, I think Penang as well could be good. It's well known, it's loved by expats as well. So there you may hold or increase your investment, and perhaps you'll keep your rental yields, although low, not too low. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. Have you invested in Malaysia? Are you Malaysian? So let me know what your thoughts. I'm keen to know what you think. Do you want to invest in this market? I know there are a lot of restrictions. Again, we said there's a minimum purchase price. I also wanted to mention as well, before I do conclude the video, there are certain areas for Malay Muslims where you can't invest, and certain agricultural places and project places designed for low to medium price range of property where you can't invest. So I would still say I do like this market. If you have a sizable investment and you want a solid investment, it's a good market to go. Otherwise, perhaps there are other better markets for low entry investors. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Have a great day. Please do subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.